All right, welcome to the playlist. This is the inaugural episode of season 2, and I have the lovely Miss Janelle Guerrieri beside me, virtually, not really, but she's there. So hi, Janelle.
Hi.
How you doing today?
Doing great.
Doing as good as can be done, right? Just to put things in perspective, this is our second day back in our buildings, and so we're just trying to get through all the different things and procedures and things we're trying to get ready for these kids that are going to come back in a few weeks. And so today's episode is about teacher anxiety, which I think is a very real thing right now. Just the world in general is anxiety inducing. And so we're just going to talk about that as music teachers and how we're doing and what relates to that. But before we get into the heavy stuff, we're going to do some lighthearted stuff. All right, so we're going to do a word association game, Janelle. Are you ready for this?
Yes. I feel like I'm like...
I don't know that you're ready for this, but I think you're ready.
No. Are you going to like Jimmy Fallon me?
No. I'm just going to say a word. They're all COVID-related words. These are words that we have heard a lot. And just give me your first reaction to that word. Okay, are you ready?
All right, yep.
Word number 1, swab.
Ew!
Exactly. That word has been used in a lot of press conferences. And I'm like, I know people that have had several COVID tests. You have not been tested, right? Like you haven't had to?
Negative. Yeah, no test.
But here's what I will say. I can't even keep myself still at the eye doctor when the blue light is coming at your eyeball and they're like, just sit still and it'll be fine. No, every time I'm like, I'll move back, right? So there's no way I'm gonna do well if I ever need to be swabbed for any reason. So
yeah, I like last year with all the vocal nodule stuff. I mean, my husband was like, "You'd be fine with a COVID test because you had all those cameras up your nose and down." I'm like, "It's not the same though.
It's not the same.
It's a lot bigger."
I have had that camera down the nose one time before, and I can't imagine that this would be anywhere near the same thing.
Right.
Let's go with a no, and let's go with a let's never do that. Okay, next word, droplets.
Rain. After all this, all I can see are like cartoon rain droplets like coming out. And, you know, we watched Hamilton and like King and the drops from the King. But it's like raindrops from him.
I have never paid so much attention to what comes out of people's mouths in my life as I do now. My husband sneezed in the car the other day and I was like, droplets! There's so many droplets!
It's a very like cartoon imposed visualization now. Like
it is.
We have seen so many of the aerosol sprays and the aerosol test results and like watching the fog come out. Like yeah,
I can't. I just can't. So I don't want to hear that word anymore, but I don't think we're done with it. Okay, next word is new normal.
Waking up.
I really don't don't tell me this. Don't tell me that this is the new normal. That I cannot go on if this is like how it's going to be forever.
It's just, well, and like by waking up, I mean like we're just so attuned. Our new normal is so attuned to like small details that could have slid before, but now, I mean, like we got home last night and we had dinner and we cooked dinner and Matt cooked. He did an awesome job. And I was cleaning up and the kids were going to bath and I was like, oh, our new normal is I need to wipe everything that we have touched on our way in from school today. Like, even though we did not see kids, I'm going to Clorox wipe because we have a few. I'm going to get the handles. I'm going to get our table. I'm going to get where our bags went down.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's our new normal. Like, that's like when kids are going to bath, one of us has to kind of just wipe all of that down. Because when we were in quarantine, we weren't going, we were home.
Right, so you didn't have to worry about it as much. It is true. I mean, someone says that to me at least once a day. Well, it's the new normal. I'm like, no, it's not. And don't ruin my day. All right, last word. Oh, unprecedented. Like, the most overused word in the world language right now.
All I think with unprecedented is change. Like, anytime someone's saying this is unprecedented, there's a big change about to happen.
Yeah. And it scares me. That word scares me now.
It is. And, you know, I laugh because so much of this, you know, we've been able to write off as unprecedented, like this is unprecedented, you know, and so it's okay to feel A or B, like feel these different emotions all at once because it's unprecedented. But I mean, the reality is after you think about it is like whatever they're about to tell you is about to flip your world upside down, or whatever you thought you knew, it's about to go the other way. And
yeah,
it's unprecedented.
It is, and it's terrifying. At first it was like, ooh, we're gonna sit down and learn about what's going on, and now I'm like, don't say that word to me. Don't say that word to me. I can't take it. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna get started. So I think this is sort of the elephant in the room right now for a lot of people in education, but not necessarily even a bad thing to talk about. But I think every teacher that I've had discussions with has some level of anxiety about starting out the school year. And I'm talking teachers that I know love what they do. Like, you love what you do, I love what I do, and yet we're anxious. You know, we're just anxious. So as far as you, what are, like, if you had to pick like one or two of your biggest anxieties going in, like right now, as of today, based on what we know, which could change, like, what is it that you're like, what is your inner struggle right now?
In reflection of like our staff meetings yesterday and kind of what our procedures are, all the changes that we as adults are implementing, I think the biggest struggle is that school is meant to feel a certain way, and it's meant to be done collaboratively and in community. Mm-hmm. And the way that we typically think of doing that is in small groups with kids nearby and with hugs and high fives and pats on the back. And we are going to have to find a new way to do that, to make kids, to give kids that extra that they need and that feedback that they need in that kind way without physical touch.
Right.
And as we listen to like lunch procedures and drop-off procedures and pickup procedures, and I mean, all of that is just kind of mind-blowing. And then as we come to it, like teaching kids that they can't give high fives and they can't, like, and I mean, saying they can't sounds really mean, but
right, I know what you're saying though.
It's just going to be a lot of constant like reteaching and kind of like getting kids to like, I really want to do what we would have done last year, but we can't do that right now because we want to keep each other safe. And that's just a different mindset. And especially for kindergartners, I mean, and our littles, like, so I guess like still having school feel like school, but we know it's not going to feel, it's going to feel a lot more sterile than what we left in March.
Yeah. And I think that kind of ties into what I was thinking yesterday about. I think it's important that we find the source of our anxieties. Like, are we anxious just generally about everything, or what is it that is the main source or the main cause of that? And for me, I think I figured it out yesterday, kind of similarly to what you were doing. We were typing out our SOPs, or our standard operating procedures, just for our classes. And we had this form and it had everything kind of written out on it. And we just had to sort of drop down menu and then type, you know, how are they going to come in? What are they going to do when they go to their seats? How are they going to proceed with the lesson? Everything, and there's probably 30 things that I had to write out just for, you know, one class period. And like one thing was, you know, what is the bathroom procedure? And my bathroom procedure has always been take a hall pass to the bathroom. And I thought, I can't give them a hall pass. I can't, just little things that, you know, I didn't think about until I had to sit there and write them all out. And I think that was the moment that I realized like where the anxiety was coming from, because we think about education like we teach and we, you know, transfer information and kids learn things. But the big part of teaching is protecting our kids. You know, our parents send them in and we protect them. That's like our job. And I'm reading this and I'm looking at this and I had this like moment of, I don't know if I can protect these kids. Like, and that's what we do. And I think that was, I'm like, that's why I'm anxious. I'm not worried about myself necessarily. I think I'll be okay. But that was the moment that I realized this is where it's coming from. For the first time in 20 years, I think I don't know that I can say, when you're in front of me, you're going to be okay. You know? And that's a heavy burden because teachers, we love our kids, you know, like when they're in front of us, they're ours to protect. And so that to me is just where it's like, I don't know how to do that. And stinks because I'm usually pretty decent at doing that. You know?
I think also that we're being presented, and it's no fault of anyone, but we're you know, a lot of don't do's, can't do's, won't do for this year. And it's really easy to get stuck behind that mountain and think like, well, I can't hold hands. We can't make a circle. We can't share instruments. We can't. And so when with like that anxiety, I'm like, what is left? I mean,
right.
What is like, could you just start like, okay, you might not be able to share rhythm sticks like normal, but let's like, we got to flip the script and go with what we can do. Cause ultimately if we're coming in here and there's going to be 13 kids in front of me, I don't want to focus on what we're not doing.
Absolutely.
I want to, you know, like when I divert my toddler, like, no, you may not have M&Ms for breakfast. I have something right there. You may have like, and we are just being told a lot of what they're not going to do and what is off the table for this year. And so I think that's some anxiety too.
Sure. And as teachers, we know how to innovate. We know how to work around something, but I think this is the most we've ever had to work around, like ever. So it's just, you feel like you get over one hurdle and then it's like, boom, here's another one. But that's okay, because I'll get over that one, and then boom, here's another one. And that can be really defeating, and it's important that we don't just get stuck in that rut. And I think talking about it and talking to other teachers, I know it helps me. Like, even if I just get it out and say, here's where I'm at, and I talk to someone and they're like, I get it. Even if I haven't changed anything, even if my circumstances haven't changed, I feel better because I spoke it out loud. You know, I said it.
That's
And I think we need to make sure that we're doing that and still staying positive, you know, and not getting in that like negativity thing. But it's okay to have fears. It's okay to be anxious. It's okay, you know, and
isn't that how we like
normal, and it's healthy, you know?
Isn't that how we coach kids though? Like when you see kids fighting on the playground, or you see kids having a scuffle in the hallway, hey, you, what happened? Hey, you, how do you feel about it? And you handle it right that, but like, and I think part of it is being isolated too. Like, I mean, just being apart from one another and feeling like, you know, reading the board minutes and reading new policies and then reading the governors and then reading, I mean, we've been handling it on our own, isolated, versus having someone help mediate it or think it through with us. And that perspective helps.
And luckily we have a pretty good group of people that we can talk to. So at least we got that going for us, right?
That's right.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you coming here today, talking about this. I think a lot of people will benefit from knowing like, hey, we're not alone. There's other people out there that are just trying to figure it out and trying to do the right thing. And I appreciate you taking the time. And now we get to go back to getting our work done for the school year and hoping that we can pull this off and make it amazing. So,
all right. So what's the last song that you listened to?
The last song that I listened to was Sir Duke by Stevie Wonder, because I was working on my music history unit and I was watching, there's this the two brothers that react. Did you see the video about they're reacting to Phil Collins? I don't know if you've seen it yet. It's hilarious.
I don't think I've watched it all the way, but I think I've seen it.
And they have one for Sir Duke, and because I typed in Sir Duke on YouTube and the two of them came up and I'm like, I have to watch this video. I haven't watched it yet.
That's awesome.
And it put me in a good mood. So
that's good.
All right. Well, thanks for coming in.
You want to know the last song I listened to?
Yes.
It's a Mia story.
Oh gosh, please. For the listeners, Mia is going to be the first president of the United States. Well, maybe hopefully not the first woman president. That's going to be a long time to wait. But this girl's going to rule the world. Okay, go ahead.
So last night she fell asleep listening to Darth Vader, the Imperial March. And we got through about 16 repetitions before I turned off her Alexa. And then this morning, the first song that she listened to, she said, echo, repeat, Darth Vader. We started our day with the, I was like,
and if you would see this adorable little thing.
Oh my gosh. She's such a firecracker.
Oh
And then Johnny wasn't happy about that. He wanted to end on a positive note. So he put the Beatles, Here Comes the Sun.
Yeah.
And I thought, perfect. Like, all right, we're going to find the sunshine. We're going to stay positive, look for the opportunities.
Yes.
So we listened to Here Comes the Sun. But before it was like Darth Vader, Imperial March.
The
and that's what she
of those two selections. The contrast of those two selections. I love your stories. They're
You're
the best.
welcome. Well, she's
All right.
cleaning. Have a good rest of your day. It was
Yes,
so fun
you
to
too.
chat with you.
And I will talk to you soon, girl.
All right.